Andres from Doble A Sports here with what will unfortunately be my final 49ers recap and performance grades video of the season. The 49ers played against the Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round of the playoffs. It was the third time these teams have faced each other this year, and the 49ers lost and were eliminated in a game that honestly wasn't even close, with the Seahawks putting up 41 points. The Seahawks were able to put up 17 points in the first quarter alone, which included a touchdown on the opening kickoff return. And that really set the tone of the game. And the 49ers defensively seemed to have no response to the Seahawks on offense, particularly their run game. Sam Darnold was borderline non-existent in this game, and that was okay for the Seahawks because they were able to run the ball, and their incredible defense made up for it as well. And for the 49ers, they entered this game without Nick Bosa, without Fred Warner, no Michael Williams, no Jair Brown, and no Bethune on defense, pretty much out of linebackers as well. And on offense, no George Kittle after his awful Achilles injury versus the Eagles, no Brandon Ayuk, who will likely be cut from the team this offseason. Screw him. Ricky Pearsall and Trent Williams both tried to play through injuries that it appears they re-aggravated, and they did not look good on the field at all. And with the rest of the O-line also not playing well amid Trent Williams nursing an injury, it resulted in a game where Brock Purdy didn't stand a chance no matter what he did. Even the moments in this game where he did extend plays and made a few good throws, it didn't matter. As Damian Woody on ESPN said following the game, the 49ers simply ran out of bodies. Their injury crisis caught up to them. They ran out of players, and with it, their resilience ran dry. And it resulted in a blowout loss and elimination where the 49ers looked like the more injured team on the field. And neither Kyle Shanahan or Robert Saleh, who have really made a miracle happen by getting this team to the playoffs, were able to create magic again in this game. Final score, 41-6. The 49ers are eliminated from the playoffs in a blowout fashion in the divisional round. Here are their grades for this brutal game. Quarterback, C-. I decided that the lowest grade I would give Brock Purdy for this game was a C-, even though he threw 2 interceptions, because this brutal loss was not his fault in any way. No George Kittle, in fact, no tight ends at all, because Jake Tonjes also got hurt in this game. Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall were playing well nursing injuries themselves, and they did not perform well. And Brock Purdy ran around for 413 yards in the game because the O-line got bodied by the Seahawks pass rush. The literal definition of running and scrambling for his life. Tom Brady even pointed this out in the broadcast, praising Purdy for the few good moments where he scrambled and did manage to make good throws and extend plays. And he even compared Purdy's impossible situation to Mahomes in the 2021 Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, where Mahomes also had no help in that game, except Purdy in this game was probably in an even worse and an even more impossible scenario, with pretty much the whole team injured, with little separation created by the receivers and more drops and fumbles on passes where the receivers did create separation. On the stat sheet, it looks like Purdy had a terrible game, but this brutal loss wasn't his fault. Running backs, D+. Christian McCaffrey had only 35 rushing yards and 39 receiving yards. He got completely shut down in this game by the Seahawks defense, which was great in this game and has been great all year. And to only make things worse, it appeared McCaffrey injured his shoulder in this game as well, because of course it had to be yet another injury. Fullback, F. Kyle Juszczyk received the ball on a failed play that lost yards on 4th and 1, turning the ball over on downs. He struggled in the game like just about all of the team did. Wide receivers, F. They caught only 3 passes for 24 yards. Ricky Pearsall was trying to play through a PCL injury in this game, and he did not look good out there. He looked like a player who was battling through an injury. It would have been better if he had not played in this game because of it. As for the rest of the wide receivers, they simply could not get open and create any separation, putting Purdy in impossible situations on passing plays where their quarterback had absolutely nobody to throw to. Tight ends, F. Jake Tonjes fumbled the ball and the Seahawks recovered it and went on to score a touchdown on that drive. Tonjes later left the game with a lower leg injury, and Luke Farrell stopped running and gave up on a route which led to one of Purdy's interceptions. With George Kittle likely going to be out for most of, if not all of next season due to that horrid Achilles injury, the 49ers will need at least one new tight end this offseason. Offensive line, D. They gave up only 2 sacks against a good pass rush, but a lot of that was because Brock Purdy, a really mobile quarterback, was able to run and save himself from getting sacked a lot more in this game. In truth, the offensive line got bodied in this game. Trent Williams, who was playing through a hamstring injury, got his ass kicked out there, and he looked hurt as well, just like Ricky Pearsall. Burford, Pooney, and Brendel also struggled in this game, and the O-line failed to pave the way for the running backs and give them room to run, which was also why the run game for the 49ers was non-existent. Defensive line, F. They gave up 175 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Of all the players on the defensive line, only rookie CJ West played well. The rest got outplayed. The 49ers defensive line played like an injured defensive line that misses having Nick Bosa and Micah Williams, because it's true, they miss having those 2 players. The 49ers need to both get healthy in the trenches, but also add quality players to improve the offensive and defensive lines, because if they don't, they will lose games in the trenches in the future. Linebackers, F. The 49ers sidelined Garrett Wallow, who played great against the Eagles, for D. Winters, who is just coming back from injury, and that was a huge mistake. On every play, Winters seemed completely lost about where he was supposed to line up and what he was supposed to do. They missed having Fred Warner out there, and D. Winters looks lost without Warner and his leadership on the field. Secondary, F. In 3 games against Sam Darnold this season, the 49ers intercepted him 0 times. Not once. That's hard to do, and it's a terrible look for this part of the defense, given Darnold has had 20 turnovers so far this year. Renardo Green also got benched early in the game, only for the player that replaced him to concede a touchdown pass to JSN, putting the 49ers down 17-0 at that time. Brutal. Special teams, C-. Eddie Pinedo made all of his field goal attempts, but he also tried to trip Seahawks kick returner Rashid Shaheed during a 95-yard touchdown return on the opening kickoff with a slide tackle. And that's against the rules and also the wrong type of football. And then, of course, the special teams conceded that touchdown on the opening kickoff play of the game, which immediately put the 49ers behind the 8 ball in this game. Coaches, F. Robert Saleh got the defensive game plan completely wrong for this game. He made no adjustments from the last time he faced the Seahawks 2 weeks ago. Once again, he let the Seahawks run the ball at will and failed to put the game in Sam Darnold's hands. And his decision to sideline Wallow was one he regretted, as the linebackers playing in his defense were horrible, especially D. Winters. It almost seemed like he was anticipating Fred Warner coming back and playing in this game, given videos showed Fred Warner looking good in practice during the week. But when Warner was ruled out for this game, it left a hole that sunk his game plan and left him feeling deflated. And when he realized his initial game plan was not working amid this injury crisis and not having Bosa, Warner, Jair Brown, and then the healthy players struggling in the game, he panicked. He panicked instead of doing what he did versus the Eagles, where he used the best players that were healthy, making the correct adjustments needed, and getting his defense to put up a good performance. Saleh was banking on a miracle. He was praying to the football gods that Fred Warner would magically return for the playoffs, like was what was rumored. But amid this injury crisis, the football gods had no dominion here in the playoffs. It was next man up scenario, and Robert Saleh did not prepare for that like he did versus the Eagles, and that mistake haunted him in this divisional round game. As for head coach Kyle Shanahan, his offense struggled against this Seahawks defense, and all of the creative play calls that he made and attempted did not work. The speed option to Kyle Juszczyk lost yards on 4th and 1. Turnover on downs, that didn't work. The reverse flea flicker gained only 1 yard. That didn't work. Granted, the offense ran out of tight ends due to injury. CMC also got injured and had to try to play through it. And Pearsall and Williams were already entering this game nursing injuries. But even then, with the players available like Demarcus Robinson and Jawan Jennings, play calls that didn't work also contributed to the offensive struggles in this game. Look for Shanahan this offseason to go back to the drawing board to try and create plays and tactics that will be able to crack the Seahawks defense in the future in order to be more prepared for when they play the Seahawks next season. And now the bonus grade category. Medical and training staff. F. Listen, they might be very nice everyday people with spouses, children, they may have families, and they may be very nice people outside of Levi Stadium and outside of the 49ers organization. And in those regards, I wish them the best. But the truth is, the 49ers' entire medical and training staff cannot be sacked soon enough. CMC and Tonjes both got injured in this game, with Jake Tonjes' injury being non-contact. Terrible look for them. Trent Williams and Pearsall playing through injuries they have re-aggravated, and neither looked good while doing so. No Nick Bosa, essentially out of linebackers, and no Michael Williams, Bethune, or Jair Brown. The 49ers injury crisis and the medical and training staff's failure to keep this team healthy is what cost the team a potential Super Bowl run this year. Not tonight, on Saturday night, on Saturday night in that divisional round game versus the Seahawks, that game showed the difference between an elite team that can keep their team healthy and one that cannot. Having one season plagued by injuries, that's one thing, given this is a contact sport. But to have more injuries than the average NHL hockey team for several consecutive years now, despite playing over 60 less regular season games than an NHL team does, that is not a coincidence. At this point, this injury crisis is no longer a coincidence. This is a sign of malpractice from the medical and training staff, where they are forcing players to keep playing when they are injured and should not be playing. This is a sign of overexertion and that they are cutting corners in their recovery processes from injuries, and that there is malpractice in how they assist players in their recovery periods from injuries and after practices and games, which is why they enter next week and the following games looking like they're made of glass and getting injured in the next games. And this has already been proven with what happened to Bethune this year. Bethune appeared to walk off the field injured mid-game in Week 18. They had him keep playing on, only to get even more injured to where he was out for the entirety of the playoffs. Pearsall and Jennings also had similar cases in the regular season. This injury crisis is on the medical and training staff. Whether the NFL itself decides to launch an investigation into this, or the 49ers decide to do so with or without the NFL, or if the 49ers just decide to pull the trigger and fire the medical and training staff now, 3 scenarios which would be correct and understandable decisions at this point. This injury crisis and the questions regarding the medical and training staff's ability, or in this case, inability, to keep this team healthy, listen, it needs to be addressed as soon as possible. This cannot continue, because if it does at this rate, it is only a matter of time before a devastating season-ending injury becomes a devastating career-ending one, or an injury that is even worse, which could stop the whole league in its tracks. Throughout the entire season, fans, sports media, everyone has been saying the same thing. If the 49ers are a playoff team despite these injuries right now, imagine what this team could have been if they were fully healthy. Injuries and reasonable questions about the medical and training staff's competency to keep the team healthy were what cost this team a potential home Super Bowl this year. And this cannot continue, because frustration regarding this injury crisis is at a boiling point. And if this team again has more injuries than a hockey team next year, this frustration will explode. It's time for the 49ers to make changes in their medical and training staff and their practices and methods in keeping players healthy and helping them recover. Final score, 41-6, a brutal loss and elimination for the 49ers against the Seahawks in Seattle. For my overall team grade for this game, when you lose and drop 41 points in the process, it's an F grade. But it was one that, as optimistic and faithful as 49ers fans tried to be, it was one that it felt like it was coming. But it was still an excellent season for the 49ers for all things considered and what they had to deal with this year, which is why for an overall season grade, I am still giving the 49ers an A grade. The 49ers season had the vibes of that one football movie where everyone keeps getting injured and they have to play with all their unknown third and fourth string players. But instead of that miracle ending, that championship win, the most realistic outcome happened. Nevertheless, in just making it to the playoffs amid the injury crisis, they massively overachieved. And to not go one and done either was even better. Give credit to Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. They found a way to squeeze water out of a stone this year to get this team to the playoffs, and even ended Kevin Patullo's coaching career when they eliminated the defending Super Bowl champions in the wild card round in the Philadelphia Eagles. It was still a great season for the 49ers, and even though they didn't go all the way and have that miracle movie ending, the 2025 San Francisco 49ers, in my opinion, will still and should still be remembered as one of the most resilient teams in the history of the NFL. Andres from AA Sports. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what your performance grades for the 49ers in this divisional round elimination loss. Let me know what you guys think the 49ers grades should be in the comments. And also feel free to put your overall season grades for the 49ers in the comments as well. Tough. It was a bummer to see the 49ers not go all the way and have a home Super Bowl in Levi Stadium this year. Nevertheless, though, it was still great to see the 49ers be in contention and make the playoffs for all things considered. With that, it's on to next season where they will hopefully make it to the Super Bowl, win it all, and hopefully do so while staying healthy. That is all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Leave a like and subscribe to support my channel and this sports passion project. Thanks for watching. Go 49ers. And yeah, can't wait for what's to come next season for this team.